Hey guys, this is the Gabriel Sin and welcome to another video. We're going to be talking about Infamous Second Son today. Yes, I've just finished completing this game and I thought I'd give you my thoughts and opinions on this game. This is an open world game where you play a character by the name of Delsin Rowe, and he gains superpowers and essentially goes on a mission to help his tribe of people, the Akomish, get over a ailment that has been put on them by another person who has superpowers. So he's basically trying to track this person down to try and get them to reverse what they did, essentially, because they put all these people's lives in danger. So that is the basic premise of the story. I'm not going to touch much more of the story in this video because I don't want to spoil it. And I will say, if you play the previous games, I think you will enjoy the story. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the strongest point of the game, but I think at times I genuinely was enjoying the story. However, it does do the typical, what seems to be anyway, the typical open world story stereotype, and that is the story starts, you get put into the open world, the story stops and gets put to the side for quite a while. And as I say, it's not something unique to Infamous Second Son, but it's something I would like to bring up anyway because, like I say, it seems to be a more and more common theme in open world games. So, to talk about the sort of general gameplay, basically, like I say, you do have superpowers, and you start off with the smoke powers. So basically, you drain a smoke source, or like a chimney or something like that, and you'll be able to replenish your smoke powers, and as you go through the game, you will unlock more abilities related to smoke. Now, at first, I was a little bit worried that I would be stuck with smoke powers. I shouldn't have thought that, really, because you do end up with powers later on, and some of them are, one of them in particular seems particularly overpowered, but they all have their sort of strengths and weaknesses as well, and I like the way that you can change out your powers almost whenever you want. All you have to do is find the right power source to drain, and then you'll be able to use that power. So I like the fact that you can kind of chop and change, because some enemies are more susceptible to certain powers over others. It's not something the game necessarily goes into, but it's something that I've noticed while playing. Now, the general sort of presentation of the game, like I say, is an improvement, but I do feel that when you're not using the superpowers, and I suppose that it seems like a silly thing to say, but when you're not using the superpowers, I do find Delsin Rowe's movements to be a little bit odd and not too sort of realistic. Like I say, most of the time you will be using the powers, but it's something to take into account. And it's at first he does appear quite sort of floaty. Like, the character doesn't seem to have much weight to him. And yeah, it's just something that I thought I'd mention, because at first it did seem a little bit jarring, but like I say, once you start using the powers, that becomes kind of a non-issue. But that's an early thought I had of the game. So to sum up, what do I think of this game? Well, it's genuinely really fun. You have all these different superpowers. You, at some point, you feel like a god, you're that powerful. And the story, while not massively strong, does start to build as the game goes on. So it's worth sticking around for. It does continue the standard of the game, which is that you can decide to be good or bad. So there is replayability there where you can decide to be players a good on the good karma side, and then the next time you could play it as the bad karma. So there is replay value. There's plenty of collectibles and side missions to do, although some of the side missions I do find are a little bit weak, but I did decide to do them all to get a sort of fair reflection of those. And yes, some, like I say, are okay, others are very mundane, to say the least. Some of them actually respawn almost a few seconds after you've actually done it, which is really, really weird. So yeah, there's a little bit of glitchiness in the game. As I say, this could be improved with patches. That's if Sony's continuing to support it. So it's not perfect, but I do like the fact that they've upped the presentation. The visuals are great, the powers look fantastic, and it's just an all-out blast to play, really. So there's very little excuse for you not to play it. So yeah, would I recommend this? Of course I'd recommend this. If you're looking for a game where you're in an open world and you gain all these different superpowers, you essentially become your own sort of little superhero, then the Infamous games are great for that. And this doesn't necessarily do anything massively new or different, but I don't mind that because I really enjoyed the previous games, so I'm quite happy to play something that's mainly a visual and presentation improvement than, say, a major overhaul of gameplay. So anyway guys, that is my impressions of the game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.